Hi, my name is Stevie and I like to write songs. We're working on an Iron Maiden pastiche at the moment. Let's work today on the pre-chorus and chorus and see what we can come up with. Let's go. Before we start today, I would like to look at some of your comments. Now, Kilrob Plays makes a very interesting comment about the vocals. And yes, it's true. I don't think there's a lot of layering going on Iron Maiden songs. And Bruce sings with a lot of personality. I think I maybe was not paying as much attention to the vocal style as I should have. I just defaulted into my usual vocal style, probably just to compensate for the fact that I'm quite limited as a vocalist. But I think you're 100% right. I think I do need to pay more attention to the kind of storytelling, personality-driven performances that Bruce gives. Not in a million years are we going to be able to do something that sounds like Bruce. At least we could pay more attention to the way Bruce approaches doing his vocals and that narrative style that he has. Puffin points out how influential Iron Maiden have been on the wave of metal bands that came afterwards, like Metallica. And yes, I agree with that 100%. In fact, the reason why I got into Metallica and Megadeth and stuff when the thrash movement came out was because I was an Iron Maiden fan and I could clearly hear that they were the next generation in that lineage of music. Thanks, David, for noticing that I was playing with my fingers. I'm not very good at playing with my fingers, so it took quite a lot of takes to get it sounding right. But yeah, you couldn't do Iron Maiden without playing with your fingers. It brings up the song Strange World, and in the comments there's been a lot of love for the song Strange World. I went back and listened to it again, and it's a long time since I listened to it, and I remembered how good it really is. So I think next week when I'm doing the guitar solo, I'm definitely going to draw some inspiration from Strange World and maybe do the guitar solo in that style. We'll see. It'll be a fun experiment anyway. Puffin also brings up an interesting point about the tension that exists between different songwriters and the different styles within Iron Maiden. And I suppose there's part of me always associates the big Steve Harris songs with Iron Maiden. But yes, it's true, a lot of the vocals do flow nicer and feel like better songs to sing whenever Bruce is involved in the writing. Right, so with some interesting things to think about here as I'm moving forward with the song. I'm definitely getting a bit of a vibe that, although I decided to base my work on the sort of Number of the Beast to Seventh Son of a Seventh Son era of Iron Maiden, which I think is the classic era of Iron Maiden. For you guys, there seems to be a lot of love for the Paul Di'Anno era. So maybe I could think about being a wee bit more old school in some of my approaches as well. Well, let's get on with it. I think we could maybe start by trying to mute some of these extra vocal layers as suggested in the comments and see if it sounds any roar.
I've been a kung fu movie star. I've been a rock in a lifeless place. I've been a sword-wielding samurai. I've been a master of time and space. I'm the unlikely hero.
Well, that works a wee bit better. I haven't taken all the layers out. When the song goes up into E, then we'll keep the layers and it'll add an extra bit of power to the vocals. But at the start, it maybe suits the lyrics as well, that I'm saying I'm describing myself and it's just a single vocal with no extra layers. So from a songwriting compositional point of view, it maybe makes more sense to have no vocal layers at that point as well. Right, so let's have a look at our plan. So we've done the intro and we've done the main riff. Next thing on the list is the pre-chorus and chorus. Now, from a musical point of view, I'm talking about going into power chords and diamonds for this section and making it a bit simpler. Maybe we'll go back down to the C sharp and then we'll modulate up to E during the pre-chorus and then do the chorus again down at C sharp so that we always get that minor third shift all the time. And I've left myself a note for the vocals, getting to the emotional core, the relationship with their daughter, existentialism. Now, existentialism is the study of the meaning of life. It's a sort of philosophical thing and the struggle between nihilism and optimism. It would be very easy if you lived in a multiverse and every decision that you could possibly make is being made somewhere in the multiverse. So it takes all responsibility for all decisions out of your hands, because if you do the wrong thing, you know that somewhere in the multiverse someone else has done the right thing, so it really doesn't matter. So how do you cope with that internally? That's what I sort of want to think about when I'm writing the pre-chorus and the chorus, something along those lines. Let's have a look at the lyrics. So far in the lyrics for the verses, we've basically just been listing out scenarios. We haven't gotten into any great detail about the existential struggle that our protagonist faces, about how she feels emotionally, about the knowledge she now has about the multiverse. And that's what I would like to get into in the chorus and the pre-chorus. Let's get rid of this stuff and make some room on the screen. At the start of the movie, we find our protagonist in a situation where she's not happy. She's not happy with her life. She often wonders if the choices that she made in her life had rippled forward and caused her life to not be as good as it could have been. Should she have got married? Should she have taken her parents' advice and not get married and not move to America and so on? And all these things have sort of accumulated over time to make her unhappy with her life. And if she could go back and change choices, what choices would she change? And then when she gets to experience the multiverse, she gets to see all the different versions of herself that could have been had she made certain choices. I always thought I would like to change the choices I've made. Let's try that. I always thought I'd like to change the choices I've made. I always wondered if this... We need a rhyme for made. Right, so I've looked up made on a rhyming dictionary and come up with charade, which is a nice word. I always wondered if this life was a charade. Fatalistic, predetermined, pointless. I always wondered if this life was a fateful charade. We did talk in the last episode that we don't want to make this too much about self-indulgence, about... It's quite self-obsessed that all the lines always start talking about yourself. So let's try and introduce some words that talk about someone else, namely her daughter. Because the daughter plays a key role, because the relationship between the mother and daughter is the central relationship in the movie, the central point of conflict. She's the key character. You hold the key. You're my potential. You're my strength. Right, let's try that. We probably need to set up a rhyme for strength. We need to put a word in there that rhymes with strength. The only thing I can really think of is sense. I always thought I'd like to change the choices I've made. I always wondered if this life was a fateful charade. You hold the key that makes everything make sense. You're my potential. You're my strength. We could maybe go, you're my strength, and go down to like a 5 chord. It leads us up to a key change again. Now, probably the strongest emotional scene in the movie is the final showdown between the mother and daughter, where the mother comes to the realization that she could be anyone. She could have anything she wants. She could simply just go and live in a different version of the universe and be anything. But ultimately, the only thing that she wants to be is a mother to her daughter. She wants to be in the universe where she has that relationship with her daughter. This is the only place she wants to be. I found that part quite emotional in the movie, and that's what I really wanted to make the sort of chorus and lead up to the chorus all about. We could say something like, in every version of the multiverse, in every version of this multiverse, in every version of the multiverse, and everywhere where, and every person that I could be and every person that you could be, with every chance and possibility and probability, the only place I want to be is here. See if we can flesh that out into something that makes rhyming sense. In every version of the multiverse, in every form of you and me, with every chance and possibility, this is where I want to be. It's good. That's quite simple, but sort of effectively strong in its simplicity. And that's a pre-chorus sort of laid out. And so now another key change and same thing again. But I was thinking, just very simply do what Iron Maiden would often do in this situation. Just sing the title of the song 4 times. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Everything, everywhere, all at once, so on. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. I think we could try and put that together now. Right, so I've just sat with the guitar for a while and tried to work out what I would do with these chords. So we finish off on the double lead part. And then we're going to go on the E part. Let's look at this chord sequence here. Because just to make the second line different from the first line. So over the first line and then over the second line. So yeah, that's probably the tune there.
Always thought I'd like to change the choices I made. Always wondered if this life is a fateful charade. You
that makes everything make sense. You're my potential, you're my strength. Then that sets us up perfectly to go back, because we get that perfect cadence. And then that would be in every version of this multiverse, in every form of you and me, with every chance and possibility, this is where I want to be. That leads us on the chorus. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Okay, so we'll try and put that together now, and then we'll get the vocals recorded and see what it sounds like. I decided to play a couple of wee basic arpeggios on the chords as well, just to break up the power chordiness of it. So that's what it ended up sounding like. And I have the two guitars playing slightly different versions of the same thing, just to add a bit of dual guitar goodness to it.
Always thought I'd like to change the choices I've made. Always wondered if this life was a big force to reach. You hold the key that makes everything make sense. You're my potential, you're my strength. In every version of this multiverse, in every form of you and me, with every chance and possibility, this is where I want to be. In every version of this multiverse, in every form of you and me, with every chance and possibility, this is where I want to be. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Right, let's get a listen to what we have so far.
Always thought I'd like to change the choices I've made. Always wondered if this life was a big force to reach. You hold the key that makes everything make sense. You're my potential, you're my strength. In every version of this multiverse, in every form of you and me, with every chance and possibility, this is where I want to be.
Let's hear those vocals soloed.
In every version of this multiverse, in every form of you and me, with every chance and possibility, this is where I want to be. In every version of this multiverse, in every form of you and me, with every chance and possibility, this is where I want to be. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Right, the chorus is a bit of a letdown. I think the music's too basic in the chorus. I think I might need to do something to improve the music in the chorus. What if I took this double lead part here and put it in the background of the chorus?
Every chance and possibility. This is where I want to be. Everything, everywhere,
The guitars are a bit loud there, but I think that's an improvement. In fact, do you know what? What if we actually just simplified the arrangement, and when it's already here, just move the chorus back to here? I want to get some sense of context for that to see if that's an improvement over the other thing that we had. So I want to play the whole verse.
I've been a kung fu movie star. I've been a rock in a lifeless place. I've been a sword-wielding samurai. I've been a master of time and space. I'm the unlikely hero, preceding acceptabilities. You are my greatest failure, splintering possibilities. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Always thought I'd like to change
Far better.
the choices I made. Always wondered if this life was a thing for sure. Ain't you hold the key that makes everything new?
Okay, so we don't need this. That's far better, even though the chorus is sort of back to front now, which means we could probably take all this and move it up to here as well. Okay, I think we've got a chorus. Let's add in the Aces High riff that I wrote last week. This will be the sort of segue that takes us from the chorus into the guitar solo, and then we'll reprise that riff again to take us from the guitar solo back out into the next verse. So we should be able to just use one version of this riff for now, just to connect the song together. Right, so I already kind of know that this is a nice change coming out of the chorus, but let's just check it anyway.
With every chance and possibility, this is where I want to be.
Right, so let's imagine the whole guitar solo goes by and then this riff comes round again, and let's hear if this does segue properly back into the next section of the song. No. Damn. I was hoping that would work. It doesn't work. So we'll still stick to the plan and have that riff, but we'll need some kind of segue for the segue. Something that eases over the transition between those two riffs. Let me hear it again just to see what the problem is. Right. The way I see the problem here, what we is that the rhythms are quite similar between the two things, but they're in two different keys, so it just sounds disjointed. What we need to do is smooth over the key change and maybe change the rhythm momentarily so that it can come back to that rhythm again and sound fresh. So we need a completely different riff, something that's in E minor but doesn't have that horse beat rhythm. Okay. Right, so I thought it'd be nice to give the bass a little feature on the lead up to the second verse. So let's hear that. Right, it does work as a segue, but maybe it doesn't sound strong enough. Maybe we could use the double lead to harmonise what the bass is doing. Let's give that a go. Let's have a little look here at how Iron Maiden actually approach doing their third harmonies so that we can understand it. Iron Maiden typically always use the Aeolian mode. So in the key of E, one octave of Aeolian sounds like this. Okay, so if we say have a riff that goes... In order to harmonise that, we have to take each note and move it up 3 in the actual scale. Don't exactly move it up. It has to be sequenced up using the scale. So let's take this first part. Go 1, 2, 3. And take that note. 2, 3. So what we end up with is... So it's actually different. This one's a tone apart. This one's a semitone apart. So for the whole riff... Right? And then on up. So this section is actually a tone apart, but the harmony below is a semitone apart. So as long as we're always following the scale and just making sure we're 3 away each time, then you'll sound pretty close to Iron Maiden. So the bass riff that we're trying to harmonise here is... Right, I think one of the guitars could actually play that, but maybe up in this octave here. Now, I'm not so happy with that. I think maybe we could harmonise this note up 3. Okay, so if we go... Right, so that's what one guitar is going to play, and we need to harmonise that then. So if we take each thing up the scale. So we have that. Okay. Now I think that's getting a bit high. Maybe we should take this down the octave. That's nicer. And then the higher one. Let's try and add them in and see if it fattens up the sound of this little riff. Right, so I tried putting the harmony down the octave so that it would be playing down in sixths, but it got too mucky with the bass guitar, and it sounded a bit clearer when I kept the original idea of having it up a third from the other harmony. So let's hear that. Okay, cool. So I think we're probably just about ready to listen to what we have for today. You know what? We're also thinking about putting this riff at the very end, so let's do that as well. Now, this is not the chorus. It will be the last chorus. There'll probably be another chorus after this. We might as well just have it anyway so we can hear the effect of how the song might end as well. So let's get a full playthrough of the whole song from the beginning to hear what we have.
Every rejection, every disappointment has led you here. To this moment.
Cool. I like the way that riff comes back in now.
I've jumped through every reality. I've been on top of the world. I've had my darkest fear exposed, my sanity fractured and blurred. If nothing we do really matters, then it really matters what we do. We get to say what it all means. We get to say what's true. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Always thought I'd like to change the choices I've made. Always wondered if this life was a fateful charade. You hold the key that makes everything make sense. You're my potential, you're my strength. In every version of this multiverse, in every form of you and me, with every chance and possibility, this is where I want to be. In every version of this multiverse, in every form of you and me, with every chance and possibility, this is where I want to be.
Strong enough ending. Cool. I'm happy with it so far. Alright guys, I hope you're finding these videos interesting and useful. Feel free to give me as much feedback and direction as possible because I love the interaction. It's what this channel's all about. We want to start a conversation about songwriting and about our favourite bands and how our favourite bands can influence us as songwriters. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe, say hello, buy me a coffee, do all that good stuff. Help the channel to grow and get the word out to other people that might be interested in what we're doing here. Next week, we'll be looking at the guitar solo and we'll be trying to flesh out all the other little parts in the song that are going to get it to the finish line. I'll see you next week, guys. You guys rock.